South Africa complete their first victory in the T20 World Cup, and it wasn't easy going for the South African side. They obviously had a very tough time with the bat, but started off amazingly with the ball. And we are going to review today's game against Sri Lanka, the first game of the tournament for South Africa, and the first competitive game at New York. So America being welcome to T20 cricket, I would say, or to cricket, or getting welcome to cricket in a different way from an international standpoint, you could say. It's a first time that a World Cup's been hosted in America. So something that's exciting for all the American fans that are trying to follow cricket and trying to get into cricket. But it wasn't the best game for that, I would say. It wouldn't have been a great display or exhibition for T20 cricket. So let's get into this review. I'm going to be chatting about it on today's live review show and talk about the main top points and what went well, what didn't go well, where we can improve, and what the game was like from a South African standpoint. But before we get going, before we get started, please subscribe if you're new. Click that notification bell for all future videos. Please, very important that you guys do so. Um, we will we're getting really close to that 5,000 subscriber mark, and I'm hoping that we're going to hit it very soon during this World Cup, hopefully. So please go ahead and check that out. And you can also smash that like button. Please, that's very important that you do so. And comment in the comment section after this video has gone live. After we've ended the live stream, please go into the comment section and give your thoughts there too, because it really will help us with a lot of things with regards to the YouTube algorithm. So without further ado, let's get straight into today's video. A very good evening. Welcome to Cricket Fanatics Magazine. This is your review show. I'm your host, Khalid, and this is the show where we talk about everything that has to do with South Africa's first game against Sri Lanka in the T20 World Cup. It was a test T20. That's how I'm going to label it. Ultimately, this was a very, I would say, for a boring T20 game, I would say. From a batting perspective, there was nothing really going for anyone over here. When it comes to the toss, let's start there. Um, when you look at the surface, it did look a little bit, I would say, um, weird. There's no other way for me to put it. It was a little bit on the slower side, a very slow outfield as well, plus big boundaries. Not very easy to hit boundaries on this particular wicket, or to hit the ball down the ground for twos and threes. It wasn't that easy to do so. The pitch itself, the ball was holding up quite a lot in the pitch, but there was, however, some bounce in the pitch. So it was quite confusing from that regard, because when in the spinners bowl, the ball was holding up quite nicely. A lot of deliveries were actually keeping quite low at certain points, but in other times it was bouncing quite fantastically and beating the bat quite easily. Let's start with the toss. I thought it was quite strange for Sri Lanka to win the toss and up to bat first. Now I know that I said yesterday on the preview show that if I was South Africa, I would have batted first. But I also did say that because South Africa hasn't really had a good time chasing in the past in major tournaments, or in any case in any type of competitive game in cricket, we struggle to um, to chase scores. But I also did say that it's dependable on the conditions. Now, on this wicket, the unfamiliarity of the New York pitch, it was a drop-in pitch, and we weren't really sure what it's going to be like. So for Sri Lanka to be unfamiliar with the conditions and then decide to obviously bat first, I think it was to an extent a very terrible decision on their part because they didn't really know what the pitch was going to do. But I need to give credit to the South African bowlers because they bowled they had the best, the greatest tactical plan that they could have had for this pitch. I think that they bowled with accuracy, and it started right from the beginning with Marco Jansen's opening 2 overs. He was brilliant in his opening 2 overs. He really put the ball in on a good test match length and made it really difficult for the opposition to get off the square, to hit the ball to the boundary, to get singles, etc. All of those type of things are important, that we need to take in consideration when it comes to this particular match. Now, when I look at the game as a whole and from a bowler's perspective, I said yesterday on the previous show that that's the one aspect of the game that I was concerned about, particularly when you see the lineup with Andrich Nokia coming back from injury and Kagiso Rabada is someone that hasn't necessarily had the best of T20 World Cups in the past. But you're looking at guys like Otniel also coming back from injury, and a lot of the guys coming into this side that haven't really played much either. But I was very impressed. Even though the pitch was a bit spongy, and I think that the right lines and lengths were bold. I think that they were hitting the surface quite consistently in good spots on the pitch. And Jansen's particularly was impressive. He only conceded 2 runs in his first over and 4 in his second over. So he really set it up. Rabada was tiny bit expensive. I wouldn't say hectically, obviously, but tiny bit expensive in his first over. And Aiden Markram made a change. And when he made that change, Otniel Bartman in his first ever World Cup got a wicket on his first ball of of the World Cup campaign. So I was very impressed with Otniel Bartman. Like I said on the previous show, he would be my first player on the team sheet when it comes to the bowling attack. And oh my, did he impress? He bowled fantastically today. And I think not only up front over there, but also at the death. I mean, he finished with 1 for 9 in his 4 overs. Fantastic bowling from him. An economy of 2.25. So brilliant from him. But of course, the man of the match for me, the man that really impressed, particularly because of the difficult last few months he's been having, Anich Nokia. Absolutely brilliant. 4 for 7, 1.75 economy rate, bowled with pace, bowled with accuracy, because it wasn't necessarily for me only about the pitch. I think South Africa, the pitch didn't only make it difficult for Sri Lanka. I think our bowlers made it difficult for them too, particularly Anrich Nokia. He banged it in. He was bowling at 150 on this wicket, 140s regularly, but he was putting it in that good length that was really, and he was bowling some great Yorkers too. And he was mixing it up with slower deliveries. He bowled a 18 ball in between there as well. So he was really, really impressive with his variations, his lines and lengths, his pace, etc. Overall, a brilliant performance from him. Now, the next best bowler from a wickets perspective was Kaiji Rabada. He came back really nicely into the match, took 2 for 21 with an economy of 5.25. So he clawed his way back into the match. But that middle overs, the way Aiden Markram utilized these bowlers, particularly the way he used Kesh, unbelievably in that middle overs. Kesh finished with 2 for 22, a 5.50 economy rate. And South Africa was all over the Sri Lankan batters. The only batter that really got going that you could say was dangerous was Angelo Matthews. But unfortunately, he fell victim to Nokia. But he got 16 of 16. So that was the closest thing to a T20 score, you would say. Kusal Mendes got the highest score with 19 of 30. But he was struggling from the get-go, and we made it almost impossible for Sri Lanka to score any runs. They batted deep until the 20th over, and they were all out for 77, their lowest ever total in T20 cricket. Now, questions are going to have to be asked about this wicket, about this pitch, and about what is happening over here with regards to that. Um, yes, they can change the pitch, but that outfield is no excuse, I feel. They can improve the outfield, cut the grass a lot shorter, maybe perhaps, make it a little bit quicker so that so that if you're going to have to play a ground game with these big boundaries, at least you can get some fours into the mix because otherwise it can be quite a snooze fest when it comes to T20 cricket. T20 cricket is all about hitting boundaries, really. That's what people go to T20 cricket for. And we didn't get many of them. I mean, other than that beautiful, beautiful square drive from Aiden Markham for six, really, and Andy Klaassen with that straight drive for six. There wasn't really many others to really be impressed with. And obviously, Quentin de Kock's signature pull shot for six as well. Um, those were the only three sixes in the game. We only saw two, three fours as well in this game from a South African perspective. Uh, if I'm going to be hypercritical, I would say probably Riza Hendricks had quite a lazy shot to lose his wicket. Quentin de Kock also quite a he would be quite disappointed. He was disappointed with the way he was dismissed, hitting it straight back to Asaranga. Um, Aiden Markram would have been also quite disappointed with the leading edge with an outside edge, trying to play it on the offside and straight to Mendes. So I think they would be a little bit disappointed by the way they some of them batted. This was a pitch where they needed to look for singles, doubles, um, in this particular match. I was glad that South Africa made a bold decision to move Tristan Stubbs up the order, give him some time in the middle, batting him at four. That's where I wanted him, even though the team sheet at the beginning of the game, before the game, had Stubbs at six. I was very happy that they brought him in at four. But him as well struggled. I mean, 13 of 20 of 28 balls. Usually it's the other way around, 28 of 13 balls. But in this particular case, yeah, all our batters struggled. But I don't think that the pitch was as bad as some of the batters made it out to be. Yes, it was difficult to read, but I do feel once you get your eye in that you could have had a go. And Klaassen was starting to get his eye in. He scored 19 of 22, 1416. And yeah, he was helped by David Miller to get them over the line. They scored 80 in 16.2 overs. So at least they finished the match with overs to spare to win the game by 6 wickets. So a very short and sweet review. That's all that really happened in this match. So that is all I can really tell you because that's all that happened in this match. It wasn't necessarily anything fantastic to talk about. So let's get into the live chat and get your thoughts in, guys. Going to be a very short review tonight because there really isn't much to say. The live link is in the pinned to the live chat if you guys want to call in and have your say. But I don't know if you really have anything that you're interested in speaking about. But Blitz77 says absolutely ridiculous batting. Kani says, Khalid, when we play in the Caribbean, we have to play an extra spinner. In that case, it has to be KG that should make way for Shamsi. I would, I wouldn't be against that at all. Dr. Rezed loved the bowling batting, a bit disappointing. Bryce says, good game, handled the potential collapse well. Good to see Anif playing so well. We should have never been in a situation to have a collapse. I feel that Riza I was disappointed with the shot that he played. No foot movement, just pushed outside off and nicked it. So I was a bit disappointed about the shot, but I mean, I'll give him a grace there because he's been in incredible form for South Africa. And in a low scoring match like this, um, with the way cricket goes, with form and all of those type of things, I'd hope to see him get back into the swing of things again. And I'd hope that he will come good the rest of the tournament and that his form will kick in. When he lost his wicket, I thought that it was probably a great opportunity for a person like Aiden Markram and a guy like Quinton de Kock, who haven't been in the best of form, to get themselves in. But unfortunately, both of them lost their wicket, and I'm sure they would have both liked to be there till the end. Christian says everybody said our bowlers are weak point, only for the performance to happen. Proud of the boys. Yeah, I was one of the people to say that the bowling concerned me. I didn't think it was our weak point, but it did concern me heading into this tournament based on the rhythm, based on injuries to Andrik Nokia, and based on the rhythm of a lot of our bowlers. I mean, Marco Janssen barely played, but I did say, I remember saying not so long ago that I feel that Marco Janssen not playing as much in the IPL will probably be the best thing for him, because I feel that he's been overplayed as a youngster and he needed a kind of break to reset and be refreshed. And we saw that in the opening 2 overs, he bowled beautifully for South Africa. And if he can bowl like that throughout the tournament, we really got a dangerous bowler on our hands for the rest of the tournament, because I think he was the, the the best asset you can have, one of the best assets you can have, is having a bowler that can really stem the run rate in the opening overs, particularly in the power play when batters are normally destructive, and then again at the end of at the death. And I think in Marco Jansen and Neil Bartman, both of them. I mean, Marco is a 7, so that really helps us out a lot, because he'll be our all rounder, so he will definitely bowl. But having Otniel at the back end, it just makes the perfect bowling pair, that you know that your front end and your back end is covered, and that you know that you can be in a very dominant position in most matches if you have that. Blitz says we nearly choked. Lauren says the boys did exactly what we wanted them to do. We wanted them to go out there and just keep things simple, and we did just that with both bat and ball. Nokia brilliant, Kesh tops, and Bartman class. Berger says the pitch, and the one thing that is very positive about this, and something that I asked for us to do um, in the preview show, I said that I want us to be able to read the conditions and play according to it. At least we did that. We didn't see the rash shots being played necessarily from um, from a South African perspective, playing completely opposite to what the playing a completely opposite style to what the conditions depicted. So I think that was a brilliant thing from us, and I think that technique. After hearing Eric Simon speak a lot about tactics and having a tactical plan and keeping the basics correct, this bowling performance was fantastic. I can't be more proud of them from the way they bowled. They hardly gave anything away. That is the main thing for me in this particular match. Usually, I used to sit on these games in the last T20 World Cup, even when we were bowling well and we bowling teams out for a low total, we were still sitting here saying, we could have done this better, we could have done that better. We only bowled 3 wides in this game, so that is a fantastic achievement. Only 6 extras in this match, which was a very sore spot for us in the last World Cup. Berger says the pitch and the outfield was terrible. It shows that ICC is solely focused on money, hosting the World Cup in a country that does not have one local player. Blitz says if we bat first, we would have lost. Burgess is really happy with our catching today. Our fielding was good. I must also give a lot of praise. I'm sitting here I'm sitting here talking like almost like we lost. That's not my intention over here, guys. I'm really happy with the victory. We needed that win and convincingly as well. Sharath says, adding to Berger's comment, this is the result of getting an entire cricket stadium ready in 3 months. Lana says, Otniel Batman bowled 24 deliveries and beat the bat on 14 occasions with his nip and swing. He was absolutely top class. Janssen and KG set the tone with a new bowler, which was key. Berger says, Batman's seam position is impeccable, really similar to Shami. They spoke about that on commentary, actually, and speaking about him maybe potentially being a test player very, very soon. He bowled beautifully today, really good test line and lengths, I would say. That's why I said this was a test T20. Let's continue. Berger says the entire feel and ambience of the ground made me feel that the World Cup was happening in England. Blitz says they don't have footwork. Lawrence says, I slightly disagree. Khalid Quintercock batted for 10 overs and never looked in. In fact, he looked out of sorts. It was a terrible pitch, but I agree, a couple of lazy strokes. Yeah, I mean, Quinton de Kock never looked settled at all. None of our batters looked settled really at the crease, especially when the like even Klaassen when the pace was bowling. Um, they they took a long time to get themselves like ready and or get themselves into a good position. Quinton de Kock was starting to free up, starting to try and get a move on, and yeah, just played a played a poor shot to lose his wicket. The batting performance, like I say, it wasn't a great batting performance from both sides. Prashana says poor pitch and awful outfield can't host World Cups with such horrendous infrastructure. Gaurav says batting really poor. Sarah says we need to worry about those Dutch and to make it worse, it's the same pitch we are playing on. Now I don't know what the rules are and whether they can change it much. Um, we're going to have to wait and see what happens with regards to this wicket. Because I mean, if it's playing like this on the first game at this ground, I mean, you can only think that this pitch is going to deteriorate over the course of the tournament. So, how much worse can it get? You'd think that it would be quite sporty up front and quite lively up front and be an even contest. I mean, I want to see games where it's an even contest for bat and ball. Um, but we're going to have to wait and see until Wednesday when India play Ireland and how that pitch behaves on that day. Um, India generally are very good in almost any conditions, so that'll be a good measuring stick with regards to how this pitch is playing. Gaurav says Stubbs got two drop catches, did nothing. Yeah. Gaurav, I'll give our batters a bit of grace today. It was clearly a terrible track. Don't think today is the day say our batting was terrible. Top 20 players couldn't even get it off the square. Yeah, that's true. Um, I'm not going to be too harsh on our batting, um, but we're going to have to find a way to adapt to this pitch because we play 3 games there. So we're going to play there again um, in our next match. So we kind of have to find a way on how to deal with this pitch and bat better on it. I know that it is difficult, but um, we play the Netherlands next, and on the so we're going to have to find a way, and that's on the 8th of June on Saturday. So we're going to have to find a way to um, to deal with those conditions and this pitch. Hopefully, they do work on it and improve it. TT says, "Hi Khalid, how are you? Great to win, but very concerned about net run rate. But that pitch is awful. I hope we could build on this." Yeah, um, I'm sure we will build on it. I think now that we've seen the conditions and how the pitch plays, I think that we'll adapt. I think we have a very adaptable team. I've always said that this particular batting unit, but in particular, are very adaptable. Avin says, can Stubbs bounce back in the next match? I think yes. Uh, the evil Jabberwocky says, IPL scores were too high and was boring, but this pitch is atrocious. We need 150, 180 scores to make it feel like a game. Spot on. Um, Lawrence says apparently they played on a different pitch as the India warm up game. That was a much better pitch. I'm sure they will give India the same track they played on the other day. India getting it nice again. Let's see. Let's see. Then we'll know. Um, Clock says Tristan can dig in. I like him. Tristan, for me, is an all round batter. A type of batter that has a very all round game, in my opinion. He is one of our most complete batters, I think, from a ability perspective. That's why I like him at number 4. I said that from the start, and I think even in Test cricket, batting up the order where is what he should do. Like Coach Shukri has utilized him. So yeah, Tristan Stubbs, I'm excited to see where his career goes. Gaurav says Markram got out on literally worst ball and Stubbs too bad. This pitch looked like India SA Newlands test. So many cracks. It was a minefield. I don't think it was the cracks more. It was more the. It wasn't really cracks. It was just the texture of the pitch. I feel. Goro says if we get 120 or more, then we won't win like this. Trista can play test match cricket. Lawrence says just how good was the captaincy? Yeah, I spoke about it earlier on. I think the captaincy was brilliant. The way he utilized his bowlers, the way he wasn't scared to remove KG and then bring in Othniel at the time that he did. The trust and belief he had in his team, in his bowlers, was brilliant. Uh, why are people having a go at Stubbs, laugh out loud? Aye, don't go have a go at Stubbs. I think we must just we must relax. It's the first game. At least we got a victory under our belt. Let's move on to the Netherlands and prepare for that. And let's see how we do. It's going to be a tough match. Again, it's our bogey team. So we need to be again switched on. It's going to be on the same wicket. Let's hope that they do change the wicket. I mean, I'm sure the ICC can't look at this game and say, you know what, we're happy with this with what happened on today's wicket. I'm sure that they look at this and say, look here, we need to change something because this wasn't a good display for T20 cricket. It wasn't um, a T20 game that we can say, you know what, if you want to see great T20 cricket, you're not going to sit here and say that opening game for South Africa against Sri Lanka was a great T20 match. Whoever says that, I mean, must be living in cuckoo land. Um, the 2 points was clearly the most important thing today. That win was very important. Yeah, but in cricket, we can't just say like in football, take the 2 points and move on because you need momentum from a batting perspective. Um, you need confidence and all of those things. And I don't feel that our batters would have gotten full confidence from this game. Uh, I feel that they almost have to reset and start all over in the next match. But it's T20 cricket. Like I said before, you can turn up in any game in T20 cricket and suddenly just find your momentum again and start winning. Like Australia has done it as well in the past. Clark says, what impressed me at the start was the energy on the field. Everyone was so switched on. Hopefully, we can keep this intensity throughout the tournament. Yep, I'm happy with this. It's underestimated. What's underestimated over here is Anik Nokia's performance because Anik Nokia has come back and shown his performance to be brilliant. Showing that he is in great form, that he's fit, that he can bowl 150. It takes a lot of pressure off our shoulders when it comes to team selection because we can rotate now. We can give Andy a rest, throw in Gerald Kutsia. We can do those sorts of things now because Andy has now taken that weight off our shoulders, I feel, from a selection point of view when it comes to our bowlers. So I'm happy overall with the team. I'm happy with overall with the result. Um, I think knowing what the batters know, they'll have a better showing and can prepare accordingly. Yes, now that they've had, that's a good fair point because now that they have seen the pitch and they've seen the wicket, they can now prepare. But it's going to be important to keep an eye on that India Island game to have a look at that wicket and then assess from there because they'll have to prepare for both. If it's going to be a different pitch for India, if they drop in a new pitch, I don't know how those drop in pitches really work, how quickly they can take out the old pitch and put in a new one. I don't really know how that works. So we're going to have to wait and see with regards to that. Is Dumini still our batting coach? Yes, he is our batting coach still. Okay, guys, thanks a lot for tuning in. That's our review show. I hope you guys enjoyed the episode. There were no callers that were waiting in the back end, so I'm going to move on from that. Maybe we'll have on the next one. But I hope you guys enjoyed the episode. If you are new to this channel, please subscribe and click the notification bell for all future videos, please. Very important that you guys do so. And smash that like button and also comment in the live chat when this video has finished streaming. Thanks a lot for watching, everybody. I hope you guys enjoyed this episode, and I'll see you guys again very soon with another preview show. Stay safe. Enjoy the rest of your evening. Peace out, everyone.